everyone. Welcome to a new edition of Hue Spotlight. And it is very special because I get to shoot the breeze with an old friend. No, I shouldn't say old friend. Come on, Don, but it has been a while.
Long-time friend. Yeah.
Yes, long time and so many things. You've got 3 kids now and wow, and some new music that really, I am so happy for you because it's not very often that you see an artist being able to redefine themselves, but still staying true to who they are as an artist. So I'm really excited for this new chapter of Don Amero. We've known you as always the beautiful, gorgeous, melody, singer-songwriter, but now we're seeing a little bit of a, I won't say the darker side, edgier side maybe?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think for me it's always been about bringing my authentic self forward, and for those that would have followed along on the journey would know that I was with a country record label for almost 7 years, and it was great. We had a wonderful journey together, and sort of the transition from that, we sort of parted ways last July. I've had all these songs sitting in my back pocket for a while, and for one reason or another, just didn't fit the plan with the label. And so once I parted ways with the label, I was like, I'm going to go back and find these songs and make sure that becomes what I share first, because I've been sort of suppressing that part of who I am as an artist. Not really in a bad way. I always I've shared this before, but like this idea that I'm the star of the Don Amero baseball team. But I don't want to be a tyrant. I want to be somebody who is like working with the team, do the plays that everybody wants to do, and these songs just didn't fit into the plays, and now I get the chance to dust them off and get ready to share them here.
So we'll get into the music and the songs, but I want to go back to something you said, that you spent 7 years with this record label, and yes, it was country, and you said you felt suppressed. That's really interesting because most artists, they want to get that label and they'll do anything and whatever, and it doesn't matter. They'll play the music that they think people want to hear. What was it that triggered you saying, I need to go down a different path?
I think it was, I've always been, I'm almost 2 decades of doing this full time now. It's been quite a journey. For me, it's always been like, if a door presents itself to me, I'm willing to walk through it and explore. And this door opened up to me, and I wanted to find out more about it. And I've always had sort of one foot in the country world anyways. Like I started off kind of roots country music, and so kind of to jump full on into the country genre, I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I felt like, again, I wanted to walk in the room and explore what was there. And it was beautiful. Like everybody in that community has been so good to me and so kind and opened their arms to me in a lot of ways. And I'll always have that community, I think, that I can lean on and that I'll always want to be supportive towards. But for me, it was like, I just knew that really what I think is my greatest strength is being the storyteller, singer, songwriter, and connection through those intimate moments. And like this album, Broken Record, it feels really intimate.
Yeah.
And I felt like that's what I was suppressing, sort of the intimacy pieces of what I really feel I do well. Yeah.
Life's experiences, and of course, you gained so many in 2 decades. Interesting, too, that you say that you are in a service industry and not entertainment.
Right, yeah,
and I had a chuckle about that because, well, perfect example, right? You're serving the public, you're serving the label.
Yeah. Honestly, it really is just about wanting, for me, it comes back to when I get lost and I have to kind of go, what am I doing this for? And that's the why for me, is just being able to share stories and songs that connect with the heart of the listener. I feel it's got to move your heart or move your mind, or your body. One of those 3 things. If I can affect that with the music that I share, then I feel like I've done my job. And it's always been about serving that. And I've always said, from the early days till now, it's always been about wanting to create a better world for us all and create music that inspires and encourages the listener. And that hasn't changed. And I think, part of the country push that we did, there's a lot of fun songs, but a lot of the heart of them was just having a good time, and that's okay, but I felt like there was more, and I think these songs that I'm about to share are the more. Yeah.
So you've got a family, and how much has that made a difference on these new songs that you are about to unleash?
Yeah, well, so I have seems like every album I put out there's got to be a kid's story in there, and there's one called "Break the Fall." I've got two songs, "Break the Fall" and "Break the Glass." And "Break the Fall" is about being there for them, and this idea that when they were little babies and trying to figure out how to walk, I was there to break that fall, and as they start to grow up, and they're still young, 13, 9, and 5. But as they start to grow up, my 13-year-old is not holding my hand anymore, and he's wanting his independence, and it was this sharing this message of like, as you go out and explore the world, I'm still here to catch you, for as long as I can be, and so they definitely influence my music every day, and I always think as a dad too, it's like, will I want if my kid hears this song, will they be proud of me? Will they be shocked? Will they be hurt? It's like all these things are sort of in the mix of my mind as a creator, and I just, whatever I do there too, I hope that it inspires my kids too.
Yeah, when you have family and you have younger ears listening, that certainly makes a difference. You have one other single. What were you thinking of?
Yeah.
Story behind that.
Yeah, that one was a tough one. Again, it's heart on my sleeve stuff. I know most of my audience knows this part of my story, but my brother-in-law, he passed away 5 years ago, battled cancer. We lost him, and he left behind his 3 little girls. They were the same age as my kids. And I remember my final words to my brother were, "We got your girls." Kind of like to say, if you got to go, we get it, but we're here, And just to kind of, if I can offer him any peace of mind as he's leaving this world, And that song, I was out with his little girl, my little boy. We were out at the park. They were about 2 years old at the time. And we were just kind of horsing around in the park. And I remember kind of wrestling with my little son in the grass. And I looked over at his little girl, and she just had these tears streaming down her cheeks. And I said, "What's wrong, sweetheart?" And she just kind of blurted out, "I don't have a dad." And just, just wrecked me in that moment. And so I, brought her home a little later that afternoon, and of course swept her up, gave her a big hug, and said, "I'm sorry, I get that." As I was walking home, I shook my fist at the sky and I said, "God, how could you let this happen? What were you thinking?" And it just hit me that I was like saying to God, "What were you thinking?" This idea of questioning God, and I grew up in the church, and I grew up in a faith that said you can't question. And this song felt liberating to me because it was saying, like, I wanted to just be vulnerable, and it wrestles with grief. And part of the piece of this song is I hope that it would give people permission to wrestle with whatever that means for them, and wrestle with faith, wrestle with relationships, that it's okay to wrestle, because wrestling, in my opinion, is an acknowledgement that something greater. So that's where this song comes from.
All right, and now the new band. You've got a new band working together.
Yeah, I got a great group of guys, some great Winnipeg players. One from Winkler, and we are honestly, it's whoever you work with, you want it to feel like family. And I've been lucky to play with some great players in this city for a long time. But in terms of a family unit, this feels the closest I've ever been to getting that sort of tight with a band. And I jokingly call us Don Amero and the Stallions. I don't know where the Stallions came from, but that's kind of what we've dubbed ourselves. And so we've just been having a really great time kind of doing what we do and creating together.
Well, that's so cool. Okay, so Broken Record is actually 3 records. Am I correct?
That's the ambitious vision for this. Yeah. So this is called Broken Record, Part 1, Heart. And so like I said, these songs are the heart on my sleeve, kind of my heart that I've been, again, neglecting to bring forth as much as I would have liked to over the last few years. And so this is it. This is my heart. I've already sort of been stewing on the next part, which I think is going to be called Soul. Broken Record Part 2, Soul. So heart and soul, right?
Heart and soul, okay.
And then the third one, I don't want to give too much away, but my hope, my dream right now is collaborations, that it would be sort of some sort of togetherness vibe, where it's like me and some of my friends that I can call upon and say, hey, let's do something cool and different, and I hope each one of them feels like a different wheelhouse of music. Again, anybody that knows me knows I love all genres of music, and I'm inspired by all genres of music. Pop, roots, country, soul, it's all in there, and I think if I can sort of tap into those and deliver something a little bit different. I love epic music too. I think that's one of the things that I haven't really dove into, was like the big sort of soundscapes, and so I don't quite know where it's going to end up, but I know the vision for Part 2 is starting to materialize. And then part 3, I think, will reveal itself more in the next little
That's
while,
the
too.
big movie soundtrack.
That's kind of the idea. Yeah. Or like if I think it just really, the first one, this is funny. So when we were recording part 1 here, we kept saying restraint. Let's pull back. Let's just keep it more skeleton, more bare bones. And a couple of moments does get kind of epic, but we really said, let's just keep it vocal heavy and guitar, and let everything else just sort of be underneath it. Whereas I think as we go forward, we're going to restrain a little less and hopefully just kind of go for it. Yeah.
Well, I can hardly wait to see some Moody Blues kind of thing and Lava Lamps. I want to ask you, though, you do a lot for the community. And,
I try.
you try, but you really have done some great work. And especially your relationship with True North Foundation and Project 11. Story behind that, or is it something that really...
Well, I
resonates?
met Mr. Mark Chipman a number of years ago through a fundraiser gala that I was at, and I performed. And through that, he said, "Oh, you should connect with our folks at Project 11." And I love the project. I love what they're doing. It's sort of youth mental health initiative. This idea of giving young people the tools when they're struggling. And I think obviously for me growing up, and most of us growing up, we didn't have that same sort of resource. And so if I could be a voice and amplify what they're doing, that's a joy for me. And so I've been part of, we did a podcast for a little while, kind of in those years when we weren't seeing each other quite as often. And so that was a pleasure to be part of. It's called the Project 11 Check-In. And so I now am an ambassador with them, and I go along for different journeys into schools, and again, hopefully inspire the next generation of musicians and just young people all around.
Oh, that's so cool. And then you have a podcast of your own, too.
I have, yeah. So I launched my own podcast, and that one's called Through the Fire.
Yes.
And it was I had this idea a number of years ago, this idea that, we often see people on the mountaintops, when they're kind of in the spotlight, we go, oh, they've always been there. But it's like, no, they've been through some trenches to get there, and been through the fires. And it was this idea to have these deeper conversations with some of my friends in the industry to say, how did you get to where you are, and tell us about the point where you were in the valleys and when you felt like I could throw in the towel, but I'm gonna push on through. And those are the stories I was chasing. And so it's been on a bit of a hiatus, but they're still out there. I think there's 22 episodes we've got available out there.
Wow, just in case.
There,
on all your favorite platforms, folks.
Yeah, it's out there. Yeah.
And yeah, you're going to be all over the place. Okay, so show coming up. Release party for part 1, Broken Record, and a new single, Break the Glass. The story behind that song. Yeah,
Break the Glass. So this one, this was interesting. So I wrote this one in 2017 with my friends Liam Russell and Adam Crossley. We were down in Nashville, and Donald Trump had just been taken office for the first time. And the world kind of felt like we were kind of looking around going, what the heck's going on? And climate crisis was, heavy in the news. The socioeconomic breakdown was happening. And we were just like, what is going on? And so we wrote this song about this idea of like, our time here is finite. And if we're going to make it any better for the next generations behind us, we've got to act now. And so I love that idea. I love this idea of like the flood coming back, like, this apocalyptic, like we better be ready because the flood's coming back. And I just love that line, which is in the song. And then here we are now in 2025, all these years later, Trump's back in office.
Well,
climate
it's
crisis,
so true.
and,
but like, everything that you talk about in the song is what is happening, and even worse.
It's shocking. You kind of wished it wasn't as relevant, but I think hopefully it's timely, and hopefully it's been one that message that people can sink their heads into in this season. And so I'm really proud. I love playing this one live, especially. It's got a kind of a groovier vibe to it, but I hope that the message gets through.
Well, I think it will. So you have 2 shows coming up, February 28th and March 1st, at a brand new, can we even say the name?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a new name.
It,
Cornerstone Art House. And folks, not even Winnipeggers know about it. Only Don Amero and maybe a choice few. But
underground,
No, but anyways, it's kind of a renovated church.
Yeah, so the church community still meets there, actually. It's an Anglican church. So they're still there on Sundays, and it's sort of now also an alternate venue kind of throughout the week. And from what I understand is the church was about to close, and then an angel came along and supported the church to keep it open, and also sort of is converting it into this new venue. And right now the working title is Cornerstone Art House. Now that we're talking about it in the media, maybe it'll stick.
Yeah.
So, but it's so that's what we're running with right now, and it's a really beautiful space. I think it's a place of beauty, and just being in that space itself is really refreshing, in my opinion. And I hope that what we can bring musically to that space too will add to that.
Oh, well, it has been such a joy to catch up with you, but
It's been a while. Eh,
yeah,
Tracy?
I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's not like wait 10 years or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
to do this again, because I won't be around. But last question though.
Yes.
Have we come a long way in music? Is there diversity, equity, and inclusion?
You know, if you'd asked me that question about 3 months ago, I would have said we're getting better. But I think currently I'm feeling shaken. Speaking, not to get too political, but the politics down south is kind of shaking me a little bit. I think in some cases there's been more safe spaces for other than ever before. I think the LGBTQ 2+, I2S plus communities hopefully has felt more support. I've tried to be a voice and an anchor in some of that arena as well. I sat on the Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Committee within the Canadian Country Music Association, and I've done board work in this area as well. So yeah, I think I know it's changing. I know the business of music is changing. I think there's more music than ever before, which is beautiful. That it's accessible to anybody that wants to be part of the music world. But I think there's a lot of gray area now that I'm recognizing more now than ever before. And I think this is a much longer conversation. Maybe that's our next one.
That's our next one, I know.
But yeah.
But I wanted to touch on that.
It's changing. Maybe the jury's still out on whether it's better or not. I don't quite know yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's part 2.
Yeah.
For now, though, thank you so much, Don. So it's Don Amero. He's got a new album, EP release coming out. It is Broken Record, Part 1, Heart. He is going to perform Break the Glass, but don't forget his release party is February 28th and March 1st, 2 shows at the Cornerstone Art House in the heart of Winnipeg. So stick around. Here comes Don Amero and Break the Glass.
No one ever seems to listen to the ground beneath their feet, to the voices in the oceans, to the whispers in the trees. Now the water's rising, it's getting hard to breathe. And I say it's not my problem, till it's breaking over me. Time's up, break the glass. I hear the wall of the den just cracked. Put your heart in the burlap sack. You better be ready when the foot comes back. Walls are not the answer when the bottom's caving in, and this tide won't stop coming. It's gonna be sink or swim. Ooh, waist deep in the water, there ain't no higher ground. Ooh, Lord, if we're still worth it, have mercy on us now. Time's up, break the glass. I hear the wall of the dam is cracked. Put your heart in the burlap sack. You better be ready when the flood comes. Time's up, break the glass. I hear the wall of the dam is cracked. It's a little too late to get your life on track. You better be ready when the flood comes back. What have we done? No, nobody's won. Time's up, break the glass. I hear the wall of the dam just cracked. Put your heart in the burlap sack. You better be ready. Time's up, break the glass. I hear the wall of the den is cracked. It's a little too late to get your life on track.